So in college, I had to take a public speaking course. The one I took was an introduction course, so it was mostly lecture, but we had a total of 3 speeches to give. For our first speech, the professor had given us a topic to talk about, and we had to write down a brief layout of what we were going to say on paper. In our spare time, he trusted us to rehearse what we wrote down along with details to add in. Of course, I didn't rehearse it because, well, YouTube is life, but I did memorize what I wrote on my paper. The professor told us to memorize this because he informed us not to keep our eyes down on our papers as we spoke. I was like, yeah, I can do this, I totally got this. Come the day of the speeches, the professor sat in one of the empty desks of the room so he could be in the audience as well. Once it was my turn to speak, I grabbed my paper, walked up to the podium, waited for the cue to start, and I started to rehearse what I memorized. But as I was talking, my eyes were glued to my paper during the whole speech. I ended up getting a B- on the speech because, well, the speech itself was great apparently, just not my placement of my eyeballs, which should have been on the audience for the whole time, but I'll take that B-. For the second speech, the professor had told us that we had to write down a brief layout of what we were going to talk about along with bringing in an object that represents one of our hobbies. I was thinking that I could bring in my pack of Prismacolor colored pencils because I love to draw, or a paintbrush for painting. Yeah, this should be fun. Come the week of the speeches, and school was out for most of that week because of winter conditions. And if you live in the north like I do, if a college is canceled because of snow, you know it got pretty damn bad. So the week after that, the professor just decided to give us a take-home test to replace the second speech. For the third speech, we could not prepare for it in any way because it was impromptu. For those who don't know what that means, it's basically improv. On these days of these speeches, the professor would bring in a cute little picnic basket full of little folded up pieces of paper, and in those pieces of paper would be an easy topic to talk about. On the day of my turn, I kept telling myself, okay, you can do this one. The paper you will have will only have like one word on it. Just stare at the audience, pretend they're in their underwear. Finally, my name was called. I stood bolt up and picked a paper from the basket and went up to the podium. I introduced myself, and my eyes were glued down on that paper again. Luckily, this only went on for the first half of my speech. I eventually forced myself to look up at the audience. But then, after a moment, my eyes went from the audience back down to the podium, and then literally everywhere else except for the people in front of me. The speech ended up getting a B- as well, for the same reasons as the first one. Hey guys, so first of all, I want to thank you all for all the birthday wishes on Twitter, and just thanks for all the support you've been giving me so far. Also, here's some tips for those who are petrified of talking in front of an audience. Just basically, all that matters is how you appear as you perform. Whether you're in theater or you have to take a public speaking course like I did. For example, if you're in theater, which I was in high school, that should actually be a new video. Anyway, just remember to breathe, keep your chin up as you're speaking, and just remember, if your play is taking place in an auditorium, the lights on the audience will be off. Therefore, you can't see them, but they can see you. And don't let that terrify you either. They're only going to see the way you appear. So if you're sweating, if you're stuttering as you're performing, just remember to take a deep breath, slow down, and maybe even keep your posture straight with your chin up. I have tried that, and that has helped me a lot. Also, whatever you do, even if this is for public speaking, keep your hands away from your head. Unless for theater, you have to put your hands near your head. But if you're not directed to move, just keep your hands away from your head, because as soon as you rub your face once, you are going to keep doing it. Believe me. I mean, everyone's different, but these are basically the things that have helped me. But yeah, if you have any experiences with speaking in front of the audience, whether they're good or bad, share them in the comments. I'd love to read them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.